Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? It is 7:45, 19th of August, guys. All right, we are past the halfway point here. All right. What do we got? We got crude pulling. We got crude kind of pulling back a little bit here this morning. All right, we were positive, just by a little bit. All right, so not really too much going on with crude at all. When I came in, it was up 34 cents. Now it's sitting down 4 cents. All right, so I see ConocoPhillips and Exxon and Chevron probably pulling it back a little bit, and I got my Yuko bouncing around, but we'll see. We just had some numbers come out on the futures, and I don't really see what we had. We had mortgage rates that came out, so it could mess with some of our. We're looking at on those 30 years, above 5.27% now. All right, so the bond yields could be a concern. Highest levels in years right now. All right, so we'll see what happens there, and it could put a crimp on the valuation stocks. So SPY is a little bit better here. It's actually just continues to keep moving here right now. All right. And then we're going to get those Fed minutes at 2 p.m. too. So we'll get an idea of what's going on there. Now on this move, SPY just took day. We were inside here since I've been here all morning, but it looks like we now want to take the day up. And the day was 769. So here we are at 770. We just tipped it there. Diamonds are a little bit better on that move as well. So two down yesterday, and fighting back here today at 534. All right, we're gonna start to take a day up. Is this gonna change things? I don't know. We're still waiting to try to get this mess back up to highs, and it's been taking a long time. If I'm looking at it from dailies, it's been 12, 14 days now since we broke from those highs, and there's been no sign of trying to get back. So we'll see what happens there. The Qs are moving up right now, but they got up to 720, but they're still not taking day up by any stretch. All right, so Q's trying to get a little bit better here. And yesterday's highs were 722. All right, 722. 13. All right, and we're trading at 720.44 right now. So Qs are trying to lift. What did we do? We got a little bit of a tech breakdown yesterday on some of the semis, and I think it was just just some profit taking, and I don't think it's nothing too crazy. All right, but it was a sharp sell off. I'll sell you that. So Marvel was down for the day. Intel was down for the day, as you can see here on your dailies. Taiwan Semi was down yesterday, and it was all basically based on semis. All right, and SanDisk was a day downer yesterday, trading 1688, stuck inside day right now. Micron. There you go with the breakdown. All right, so we had most of the semis moving to the downside, and then we're watching the Cloudflares, and there's really a mixed bag in that group too. So when it comes to tech right now, there's like so many moving parts. Just we're gonna have to just wait and see. Now we're gonna get two ones inside, and we'll see what today brings. All right, we'll see what brings that when it comes to tech. All right, and then I'm watching those other ones this morning here. We talk about our Cloudflares, D Dog, right? Where's D Dog at? 244, a little lower here. All right, 244.91. So 244.91. You are going to be inside day. And then just a couple of quick ones here. SAP. All right. SAP was lower yesterday with the shooter back down. Did get it going early, but there was some puking at the end of the day, as you can see with the 212 breakdown there. All right. So Cloudflare and semis both to the downside yesterday, and here we're going to come inside with a lot of 2-1s on the days. So we'll see what happens there. Not much going on the SPX. We just did get a decent move here. SPY is still going here with the diamonds still moving up right now, 721.50. I mean, other than mortgage numbers, I can't see. I don't know what just came out here. If there's something else out there, let me see. Hold on a second. It's killing me what's going on here. All right, let's see. All right. So again, crude pulling back a little bit today, so we'll see what happens there. Uh, no, I don't really see anything other than the fact that the stocks are just the SPY and the are cruising here, man. All right, Marna's in the news today. mRNA on Marna. All right, now we had healthcare move up yesterday, and I think they picked them up because they were the cheapest group to grab after. Coming up here, nice look at this move on Marna this morning, guys. 62.96 trading at 134 bucks. I did not get the story on this Marna, but this is crazy to the upside. And then we looked at Walmart. We know that Walmart's reporting, and it's doing nothing. It's completely unchanged on the day right now. We'll keep an eye on Home Depot. Excuse me. Home Depot finishes the day with stuck in the middle with you. That's no fun. You're going to be buried inside there. Lowe's was a little bit better. Lowe's was a little bit better here, down that was your day yesterday. Yeah, yesterday's lows were 214. We're going to be sitting right on yesterday's lows. So we got that reporting there. TJ Maxx is down this morning here on a miss, coming back down. All right, and I think I saw Estee Lauder was a little bit better, and I saw a couple staples that were moving up better. All right, so Estee Lauder coming up here. There you go, nice EL. All right, 85.62. They're taking 95 bucks, baby. All right, so you are moving on up, man. All right, to the Estee Lauder place. There you go, 95, guys. Nice gapper up here. That's going to give some help to your staples on your XLP. All right. And I see XLP coming down everywhere. I know today's just like freaking me out. All right. So XLP a little bit lower there. We'll see if healthcare can give up a 2-day. It really can't, but it looks it's higher again this morning here at 172.51. All right. So looks like they want to push these. They want to start pushing these healthcares maybe a little bit more here. The group has really just been not doing anything. It's been sitting on the lows of the month here on in the sectors, but here they come. All right, so Moderna is moving, surging after a positive late stage cancer vaccine trial, and they're also working in conjunction with Merck, and now Merck is starting to move up. Everything's starting to make sense now. All right, so Merck. Look at Merck moving to the upside. So Moderna and Merck kind of getting together on this one. All right, so you're going to see Merck now going to all-time highs here. All right, so we got Moderna and we got Merck. We got two picking up there on the healthcare. We'll see if they can continue to keep that up. Watching again on the crude here. Not much going on here. I said crude is dropping, and I can see that, and my Yuko's down to 43.62 now. All right, so in this same vein, I got to say, if this market starts to turn like we're turning right now, all of a sudden here, these have been down, guys. Discretionaries are down, down, down. All right, you're still down on the day yesterday with the shooter down. You're down on the month. You're 2-2 down. All right, so watch out for some of the discretionary stocks. And I was showing you McDonald's the other day. Still down on McDonald's, just can't get it going. Maybe some of the cruise ships might start to move a little bit. They don't even like they're just going to go. They're going back up already here. All right, with all this Iran business. So we'll see about that, man. RCL, Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, is popping up this morning too. So watch your Airbnb, who's been a real beast anyway. You probably, as I was going to say, you probably need some more coming down inside here. This was a really move, the gap up and holding up well on Airbnb. So watch your discretionaries, watch your XLYs, all right, and then you got XRT as retail as well. This one is not giving us any love here, down on retail right now. So down and out on retail right now. All right. So I think the big news today is Walmart, and it's going to report tomorrow in the morning. So we really won't know what Walmart's going to bring until tomorrow. We got the Fed minutes. Um, we're watching the yields on the 10 years at 4.69 holding up. The Fed minutes, I think, are going to be a big thing to pay attention to. We'll see what happens there. So discretionaries. Let's take a look at our utilities. Well, my XLU kind of fell apart yesterday. So we've been talking about it, right? And she has a bad day. She comes back inside. All right. Fighting right back at 44 and a quarter. So you're going to be back inside day here now. All right. So be cautious with this one, with the day coming in. They got a kind of a slam down yesterday. All right. So might take a day or two to get this thing back to where she was going. But we'll see what happens today with the inside day on the utilities. All right, so the futures have made a bit of a move here. Now spies and diamonds are looking to take day up, but we're still struggling in the Q's land. All right, and we'll see what happens with that. Watching Intel now coming back up to $97.40. Intel starting to move. Still inside day, guys. SanDisk and Micron are trying to move back up. Micron back up to 965. I'm seeing SanDisk getting up to 1697. Still inside day. All right, but they're pushing on those semis. All right, so we'll see if anything comes of that. All right, because still yesterday's highs were 1726. Trading at 1698, but they are pushing right now. The SPY is finally starting to cool off and break down a little bit. We'll take a look at the SPX, and then by looking at that, the best way to look at it is to go to the ESs. So you're back down here today on the 4 hour with the gapper down. There you go on your 4 hour. And we're down at 76.91 here right now. All right, but we're trading. Let's pull up on the ESs and see what's really happening here. All right, so there we go, up $35 on the S&P right now, 77.49. All right, so moving back upwards a little bit. Yesterday's highs were up through 77.56. So we're moving up. We're moving up. All right, we're moving up. We'll see if anything comes from there. All right, so discretionaries, keep an eye out. Healthcare, I think you're getting a lift because of Merck and Marna. That's big news coming out there. So that's going to really kind of push the that whole group up. And again, they had a day up yesterday too. So maybe healthcare tries to put up 2 days in a row. That hasn't happened in a while. All right. Here, let's take a look here. XLF. I'll just spin through and then I'll close it out. All right, XLF popped up on this news with the SPY coming back up that we don't really even know what the news was about, other than 30-year mortgages and going to almost like highs of years. All right, on mortgage rates. All right, so XLF, you're going to be inside day there, and then we'll look at XLK. Knocked out yesterday with the down and out, and now where are you? 187, getting close to trying to take those days up. So we got a setback on the semis yesterday, and most of our other cloud stocks too. They kind of took the hit with it as well. So let's see if they can take a 2 up, man. We're going to be inside ones on all of these things. So I don't think there's no big hurry here. We'll see if energy can turn around, because now energy's kind of all of a sudden become a little bit softer this morning. And then we'll see what those utilities want to do, because we're going to need some help from them. All right, drillers are all over the place on the OIHs. So that group right now, we'll see what happens with energy. Okay, we'll see what energy, and then it's energy and tech. All right, at the end of the day. And now all of a sudden, watch these discretionals. I think they might get back into the game here a little bit. So keep an eye on those. I mean, why are they cruise ships running like crazy to the upside? It's like the war's over. It's not over. I don't know if you heard. All right, so I'm going to leave it there, and I'll definitely get back to you today at some point. All right, be good, be good.